Okay, hi sluts. Pussy, mind, body, spirit, soul. What is slut camp? Let's get into it. Blocked immediately. Welcome back. Hi sluts, welcome back to Slut Camp. Camp counselor Emma, of course, duh. Very fucking excited for today's episode. We have a very special camper. This is my first man. Oh my God, freaking out. I hope you are too. He's freaking out. Where do I begin? This is someone who I've known for a very long time. He subleased my room in the summer for a couple months. So like we basically slept together. Wink. He's extremely tall and he's the image that comes up in the dictionary when you Google like Hesh or Brooklyn. And he's everyone's straight. Gay best friend. Welcome to Slut Camp, Noah. Yay. The sluts are so happy you're here. Does this feel like kind of like you're being sacrificed or something?
Yeah, I feel like I have a gun to my head. I'm being forced into this, against my will. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to be here.
I always start my episodes with a slut affirmation, but I think we need to loosen up a little bit. We have to intro. So we're gonna take a shot to start.
Let's do it.
Okay. And I didn't get a chaser, so our chaser is gonna be our beer.
I love it.
Wig.
Cheers.
Cheers. The slut affirmation is going to require we do another shot. So while we're waiting, while we like gear up for the next shot, can you just give us like a quick intro as to like who you are, how you came to New York, why you came to New York, a quick summary of your dating history at the end, and also when you started to dress like this.
Born and raised in LA. Emma and I went to high school together, which we're actually connected because of that. Super fun. Brand new New York City. Love it here. Super stoked to be here. Nervous about my first winter as an LA boy, but we'll see how that goes.
It's gonna be fun.
As far as dating history goes, I've been
Noah is never single.
Never.
This is a big
never.
moment.
I'm always taken. There's a line out the door for Mr. Noah at all times. Dating right now.
I love it.
Dating right now on the apps. Hate the apps, but still, it's a daily consumerism for me.
Is it a form of social media for you?
It's a form of social media. It's a time killer. It's just a boardom thing.
I want to get into the apps later because I have questions from like the male perspective of like girls on Hinge. Like I'm so curious. So we'll get there, but continue.
Okay. Had a couple of longer term relationships, you would say.
LTRs.
LTRs. As they say in the camp.
Oh my God.
Up until about, a few months ago, 6 or so. So yeah, fresh on the scene, looking to make an impact.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's been fun. Fresh meat. Come and get them, ladies.
So you lived in Brooklyn first, though.
I lived in Brooklyn.
How was that? Like you love Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, Brooklyn's great. Brooklyn is, as Emma so kindly put it, right up my alley. My total vibe.
Were you already dressing like this when you moved to Brooklyn?
Yes.
When I say he dresses like this, like it literally, like imagine like a surfer or a skater from California moves to Brooklyn and doesn't know what to do because that's not the culture. So they become a creative director or a freelance writer.
Yep. Yeah, I love that you just pigeonholed me into something I'm not even at right now, but you know what? I'll take it.
He's wearing a nice button up though. So today he came
I dressed up for this. When it's the camp, you got to show out.
Oh my God.
So,
our guest speakers have to dress nicely.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, on that topic, I mean, I got into fashion a little bit like in college, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like thrifting and all that other stuff. I'm a big proponent of look good, feel good,
Love it.
So I always try to dress to the nines so I can be my best self out there.
Every single person I've had on the show has been like staring at themselves, being like talking, and I'm like, you have to look at the
No, you gotta look at the camera.
I'm gonna die. Okay, perfect. He moved straight from Williamsburg to the East Village, so it's kind of like what is the reverse of what people typically do.
Yeah. So I've kind of had equal amounts of time in both by now. So I've had a good sense of what's what. East Village is great. It's popping, it's where everything's happening. I will say it's kind of a shithole, At some points I'm walking around and I just smell the poop air or I see the rats running around. I'm like, I miss my Brooklyn life. Like that was so simple. That was so like neighborhood-like,
There are still rats.
I know they're rats, but they're not as frequent, and they don't run across your feet all the time like they do in the East Village. So
that's true. They like avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
Like they're actually like really polite. Like
Exactly.
they kind of just like they
They're
hear
kind.
you coming and then they take their
They
turn.
get the vibe, you know?
Yeah,
And East Village is just like all like gung ho, you know?
They want to
run
go to
across
the
their
bar
feet.
first.
Exactly. They want to get there.
They're
It's
going
a
to get online at
competition.
Berlin before
It's a
you.
competition. I can't blame them for that, you know? I'm in the same boat.
I want to get an idea from you, like your vibe on nightlife at the East Village versus nightlife in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I will say I fucking hate Dock Holidays.
Really?
With a passion.
I
Oh God,
love
I
Dock
fucking
Holidays.
hate that place.
Maybe I haven't gone enough.
I've never gone there and had a good
It's a
time.
lot of testosterone.
It's just weird. It's just weird vibes every single time I go. Maybe it's me, the night I've had, and it's just like a late night thing, but it's every single time is bad vibes. There's a lot of cool hole in the wall spots around there. You know, St. Mark's Place and everything is great. Romeo's, shout out Romeo's.
Shout out Romeo's.
Always a good spot. I found a little jazz club in the Tribeca area. It's called St. Tuesday.
Ooh.
Yeah, in the basement of a
he's
hotel.
different.
I know. I look. I use my brain. Okay, I find the cool places.
Fuck yeah.
I'm a creative director after all.
Obviously.
Okay?
Obviously. Fuck.
That's kind of the vibe I like. That's what I look for on a nightly basis, I would say.
I felt like you were going to be a good contender for SC because we both got out of long-term relationships and then moved to New York. Was your breakup kind of like propelled by the fact that you were moving to New York, or was it because like something else and then you moved to New York?
No, I moved to New York because of the breakup. Didn't break up, I would not be here right now.
Whoa.
Bomb. Drop that
But
bomb.
everything happens for a reason, right?
It does. And I think it's for a good reason.
And it was for the best?
I think so.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And so coming out of a long-term relationship and jumping into New York dating life, what has been like the worst part about it and the best part about it?
The worst part about it is just, I don't know. I feel like it's so hard to get to know a person on a dating app, you know? Like you have so many minute things to get to know someone with, you know, start a conversation with, talk about. I just think that is just like more often than not pulling teeth, you know? It's insane, you know? So I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of like trying to force conversation. That's just, but that kind of is how it is everywhere. The best part about it is, I mean, I guess you make some good friends, you know? You see some cool places. Like I wouldn't have ever gone to this St. Tuesday Jazz Club if I wasn't going on a date there, you know? And now I find a new spot that I want to go to for the future. So
Our slut affirmation today is something that I feel like we all used to say in college. I could tell you what it means, but like it's just a thing. It's like kind of like cheers to love, cheers to honor. You can't come in her.
come on her.
There you go.
Yeah.
But it's Arriba, Abajo, El Centro, El Dentro. When you're doing your makeup, getting ready, the shot is settling into my throat. When you're getting, I'm trying to like prolong, not taking a sip of the beer. When you're getting ready to go out, that's the slut affirmation. Arriba, Abajo, El Centro. That's it. Yeah, have a great fucking night. Shake some ass. Let's get into it. That was just our warm up. College into New York transition / transformation. I feel that you went through a metamorphosis of sorts.
Yeah.
I've been watching you.
No, you have. I was sleeping in your room for 2 months.
I know. I still feel his like spirit in my room when I'm like going to bed.
I made my mark there.
When I have another guy in my bed, I'm like, oh my God, stop. Like Noah's watching. Like Noah's the third. So what is your like relationship to New York? In terms of like, when did you visit a lot? Do you have family here? Like, or did you just move here because you wanted something different and you knew people?
Yeah. Great question. I'd been here once before I moved here.
Really?
Yeah. And it was when I was like 8 years old. We saw the Statue of Liberty and went to like Ground Zero.
Oh my God, classic.
Top 2 on the tourist list, of course. But yeah, I've like never been here or explored here. I never had friends that were like living here and stuff. So I was brand new to this whole thing when I moved.
Wow.
So that was kind of fun in a way. So I'm kind of on my own out here.
Wow.
You know?
So you kind of just like shotgunned yourself like into the city.
Oh.
Like it's like, that's crazy.
It was a full on like manic episode move. Like I was.
No, I know.
I was unhinged and I just decided to do this based off an offer. Like.
Are you going to go back to Manhattan Beach?
No, not that.
He's not a townie. That's for sure.
I would say I yearn for the open spaces, the grass, you know.
Really?
If you will. Yeah.
You went to Oregon.
Yeah.
It's very like crunchy.
It's a granola place, you
Yeah.
know. And
Is
New
it
York
in
is
Portland?
great. That's Eugene.
Portland is really scary.
Portland is horrifying. And
Like-
Eugene might be worse.
Okay, so you were ready for New York.
Oh yeah, I was ready. Like I was built up. Okay, in college, I had homeless people camping on my lawn and shitting in my
your
front
house?
yard. In my front yard, not inside the house. That
What was like the biggest like culture shock moving to New York, having
Just
only been one time?
literally the amount of fucking people.
Yeah.
The amount of fucking people. Like you get on the L in the morning on the way to work, you know, the 8:45 or something, and it's just like a zoo.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. You know,
Crammed.
like the sheer amount of people that live in the city was the biggest kind of hurdle for me.
I have always said like the biggest, and you tell me like what you think the biggest difference between LA and New York is, but I think people in LA are nice but not kind, and people in New York are kind but not nice.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I think so. I think that LA fosters this kind of sense of non-genuineness, you know, where you're just
Yeah.
fake, trying to like make
Nice.
it, you know? Yeah, exactly. Just totally fake people.
Yeah.
New York, I was honestly surprised by the genuineness of
Right?
the people that are here, you
Because
know?
the media portrays it as like just terrible.
Yeah,
People are
exactly.
fucking
It's like worse in
awful.
LA, you know? But at the same time, it's like these people are actually like, you know, humans, and it's like you can connect with them. So
Have you been able to like keep up?
in a sense, yeah. In a way.
Inevitably, like you're gonna move back to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like I feel
think
like you
so.
got a year in the East Village. Like
Yeah.
I don't even think like there's more.
I 100% agree. And then I think after the Brooklyn is tired out, that's when the SF comes into play.
Yes.
And then maybe
Ooh.
an eventual move back to LA or something. But
Girls.
those are like kind of the three cities.
He has a plan. He has a plan.
Locked in.
Girls, he has a
Locked
plan.
in. Don't get in the way of it.
Men with a plan.
Don't get in the way of it, because I got it fucking to the T.
Quickly going back into the long-term relationship.
Mm.
I want to know what you learned, the biggest thing you learned from being in that relationship, and then going forward, how's that kind of changed your mentality on dating in a new place / like in your mid-20s in this new place?
My last long-term relationship was pretty serious. You know, like we were
Years.
years and ready to go the whole deal. Like we talked about it, you know.
Marriage?
Oh yeah.
Holy
like
shit.
that was a topic of conversation.
Okay.
So yeah, that was definitely an adjustment coming out of it.
Taking a shot.
I think I mean, I think there's some sort of like kind of blindness when you're in something like that for so long, you know, where you don't really realize the red flags or whatever else could be
100%.
bad when you're inside of it. And then as soon as you get out, you look back and you're like, wait, I see the signs now, you know, that
Yes.
maybe wasn't as good as what I thought it was
Yeah.
when I was in the moment, you know? And so that kind of made me rethink how I analyze relationships
Yeah.
in general, you know, because it's hard to gauge.
Can I ask you, as a man, so when I got out of my relationship, I knew I was moving to New York like in February of like the year I was moving to New York. So like I moved in August. I found out in February, like I'm
Yeah.
going to do that.
Yeah.
I told my ex-boyfriend like I'm going to move. And he was like, totally, like you do you, girl. Like sounds great. And then it was like in the next like 5 months, I was like processing the breakup. Like I was
Yeah.
going like emotionally like through it. Like we'd have like fights, but also it was like perfect because like we knew we were breaking up. And then like the night before was when he like realized that it was like actually happening, like that
Yeah.
I was actually leaving. And so like for you being a man in the relationship, like do you feel like you emotionally processed it like when it happened, before or after?
Definitely after. I mean,
Interesting.
Yeah, something as long as that, it took me a minute to kind of really understand, like, you know, the fact that we had broken up. I mean,
Yeah.
this was 2.5, 3 years of being with the same person. I'll be honest, it took me like a month or two to be like, holy shit.
I mean,
like
at least
yeah,
God,
exactly.
for her
I know.
sake, Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
Yeah, no, exactly. 100%. I was like, holy shit, like, this is real, you know? And at the same
Yeah.
time, I was kind of like, that first month or two, like in my head, like I was like, usually I was so used to texting this person about certain things and every little update in my life.
Like
and I was like, where do I
BFF.
output this now? You know, the output is just gone.
Feels like you like someone died.
I know. And I felt I found myself going to my mom of all people, you know, which is a great output.
I love
a great
that.
output, but like a very different one at that.
Yeah, 100%.
So a very healthy kind of reconnection in that part. But
wow, you kind of got like the best outcome of like the breakup.
Yeah, it worked out. So
what did you learn was the biggest thing that in going into future relationships like you do not want?
Yeah. I mean, I'll go back to what I said before, you know, where it's just like kind of being in something kind of gives you this little bit of blindness towards, you know, some of the red flags or whatever is going on.
The biggest, like, obvious red flag. That's something that you just didn't agree with. That after you're like, why the fuck was I saying in that? You don't have to get too specific.
No, I won't get too specific. But I guess just sort of a pulling away, you know, in a sense. You know, when I was in it, I took it as, you know, making new friends and stuff and busy with work and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But after getting out, I'm realizing that was sort of a distancing process, you know, where she was starting to kind of put some steps
Make
in
distance.
between, you know, her and I, because there was this sort of sense of
Pulling
this
away.
is going to end. You
So
know?
that's really interesting because I think a lot of girls in dating in New York specifically, or I don't know if it's everywhere else, but like dating in your 20s is a lot of like walking on eggshells around people where you can kind of get a sense of like, oh, this person might be like pulling away kind of, or like, why are they acting like obsessed? And then they kind of like are not, like, what's going on? So I think that's interesting because dating now, people are like, that's the number one thing I hear from my friends. Like girls being like, he's texting me every single day and then he's not texting me at all. So do you think like communication and that like weird pause for you at least like is something you do to distance yourself, or you've seen has like been something that's been a problem in dating?
Yeah. So I don't really
You're a good
subscribe to that
communicator.
method myself, you know, like if I'm gonna end something, like I wouldn't do it that way where you just kind of like gradually ghost someone.
You're not a ghoster.
That being said, when it does happen, especially with guys, it's usually a bad sign.
Yeah.
I kind of think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
100%.
not good.
I have this friend who was seeing this guy for like 3 months. 3-month rule. We'll talk about that in a second. Seeing this guy for 3 months, and he went away on a trip, and like it was 5 days of not talking to her, which was not normal. Like they talked like every day.
Okay.
And so she was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm like, is he okay? I'm like, he's fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's fine.
always fine.
He probably met up with his fucking ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always like doomsday. Like, I'm like blunt as fuck. Like, you know. And I'm like, he met up with his ex-girlfriend. He fucked her, or like he had an emotional connection with someone else, and he forgot about you. And I tell my friends that. And then he basically was like, okay, now I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to wait till I get back to have the conversation. So she's like tweaking out about it. And then I see her like, you know, a month later, and I'm like, what's up with that guy? She's like, yeah, wait, no. And I'm like, the fuck did I say?
Surprise. Yeah. Ooh, who would have seen that coming? Yeah. Sorry.
So it's just like, speak for the men.
There's a lot of shitty guys out there. I'll give you that. I don't really understand the way they kind of operate it sometimes. I know it's brutal out there for women and stuff. If it's me coming from a straight man, you know, giving advice to all the campers out there, as I'm looking in the camera,
Good. It's where you should be looking.
if you sense a red flag or something that could be a red flag, it's probably bad. I'll give you that.
That's some good fucking
probably
advice.
bad, you know, especially if you're going for the finance guys and the other kind of like normie, you know, they wear running shoes out to a bar. It's like, okay,
Who the fuck is wearing running shoes?
they exist. They exist.
Okay, girls, look at
And it
footwear
hurts.
next time and run.
No, seriously, gauge what they're wearing. And make an assumption after that. If they're wearing what every
Shoes?
single other guy is wearing in the bar, it might go bad for you.
I really sympathize for the girls who are just, they see a Vineyard Vines, they see a vest, and they're like, no,
No,
let me
that-
sink my claws in. Why? You know it's going to be bad.
That should be the complete opposite of that. If you see a Vineyard Vines shirt or vest in the bar, you should run the other way.
So there's two specific types of very red flag men that I've seen the most, that I've observed myself, that I've had like my friends experience. Like, let me know if you agree. Let's say it's the right and the left. We're going to use politics to describe this. On the right, we have the vest, the Vineyard Vines, the finance, they have a plaid button up on with a navy blue Vineyard Vines vest. I'm not sure what that's keeping warm, and khakis. Okay.
And I'm assuming that's the right.
That's the right. Okay. On the left, we have long hair, mustache, tattoos, Brooklyn. Okay. Creative director.
Yeah.
Both terrible. Both really terrible. What is the middle ground of that? Because I don't know where they are.
We're all looking for that, aren't we?
What the fuck?
Aren't we?
Why do they all look like that? There's either.
I know.
I mean,
and it's hard because in your example, that right person makes a shit ton of money and the left person makes $0 a month.
They're both terrible. They do the same things. I'm do they have meetings on Tuesdays where they discuss how they're gonna fuck over the girls that they're talking to?
Yeah, it's like rival factions.
Do you go to meetings?
Yeah, I kind of split between them, but there's a war going on in the city you should know about.
Oh my God.
Between the Vineyard Vines boys and the Brooklyn guys, and we plan in different apartments and we think about how to screw over the female population in the city.
God. I mean,
yeah, it's a thing.
Wow.
It's a thing. Look it up.
And who's the leader?
Well,
you're like, it's me, bitch.
Well, the leader of the right is Jeff Bezos, obviously. He is the king.
100 rock on, Jeff Bezos. Let's move it back to Hinge, because now I'm thinking about Hinge. So, terrible fucking app, designed by millennials for fucking millennials. Terrible. Yeah. Why are the prompts are so bad? The app, the actual engineering of the app, the efficiency of it, I don't understand how to use it.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible. Yeah. I'm literally and now they have a new update where you can only have 8 people in your queue, unread.
Yeah, seen that.
Okay.
Crazy. I know.
What?
What are they gonna
I
do
love
about
to
that?
not read anyone's message.
Exactly.
Makes me feel famous.
I want 8+ unread messages in my inbox. Okay, that makes me feel great.
Makes me feel famous.
Exactly.
And awesome.
Exactly.
Okay? Anyways, so the POV from the girlies, from what I'm hearing, is that men on Hinge just look, just what the fuck's going on? I'm seeing my big toe on Hinge. I've seen my guy friend's Hinge, whatever. He has 20 fucking likes plus sitting in his thing. And I'm do you never go through those? And he's like, no. I'm
weird.
Okay, that's weird too.
That's weird. Yeah.
That's not normal.
Yeah, that's usually my first stop. I mean, that's easy.
Yeah, because you don't have to do any.
I mean, that eliminates all the waiting. It's it's already there.
Okay, so maybe he's just like going through his homepage, he's
going
through his free page.
That's insane. That's actually, I don't think he knows how to use the function of the app. If I'm being honest.
He's going through his for you page on Hinge and he's just liking, disliking random bitches. So I'm maybe that's why you're seeing ugly girls, because you're ignoring the ones who actually
It just makes it boring too.
But then I'm then I see the guys who like me and I'm oh my God, I need to check myself into a mental hospital.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That
you
feeling
should be not allowed to even look at me. Basically. On Hinge, what is the biggest thing that you look for on a girl's profile?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly,
that is a good question.
Personality over everything.
Okay.
If it's me, I say put away the tits, put away the ass, show some brain, show the funny bone. Okay. That's the skin I want to see. No, I'm being serious. If a girl doesn't have anything that's shows her personality, anything funny, kind of quirky about her, it makes it hard for me to send a because what am I gonna say for my first message? It has to be something unique. It has to be something that's about you.
Yeah.
Something that maybe you only find funny or you and a few friends find funny. But that's what gets a conversation started.
There's a big thing for girls with guys on Hinge where their prompts are all identical. They all write the same shit. Is there something you're seeing on girls' Hinges that are very similar, or when you see this you're immediately no? Tell the girls.
Just like the fake quirky shit, you know?
Okay.
I mean,
in what way? Like, can you think of like a specific example of this?
I could pull up my Hinge.
This is a big lesson for girls because I feel like it will help deter from like the thumbs of future swipes.
Okay, I just didn't even have to swipe and I found one.
Okay, girls, pay
Yeah,
attention.
so don't say like, oh, I bet you can't like teach me how to drive.
What?
Girls say, it's right here. It's right here.
Who is okay?
It's
Mine
right
are
here.
probably just like really insane, and that's probably why I'm like, who the fuck would write that? But
Honestly, it's not so much like the specific prompts that irk me. It's just like when I read through them
is it
and
like
it's
teach
just
me how to play pool? Like, is that like one that's like annoying?
yeah, exactly. Something like that where it's just so bland and you could see that 50 times in a row and really not blink twice, you know? So I think that's a big one, the prompts, but I know that's hard. Like I know personally, like trying to find a prompt that's not too isolating, but also at the same time funny is really difficult.
Well,
a lot
what
of
I'm saying the design of the app is terrible because like
Yeah.
how do I think of something funny on the spot like that?
I mean, I'll go and have a hot take here. I think the pictures matter a lot too, and it shouldn't just be pictures
100.
of you with the boobs out, you with the ass out. Like
Oh, that's nice to see.
It's fine. You know, I'm not complaining.
Would you want your wife, your future wife, to be putting her tits and boobs on the like,
Exactly,
tits and boobs,
exactly. But it's
tits and ass on the internet?
but it's just also like that's what everyone else does.
Yeah.
You know, so like
Because that's what girls think guys want to see.
exactly.
And
But
this corresponds. I mean, this is coming out after Halloween, but like with Halloween, like all the girls want to dress like slutty, and someone made a TikTok and was like, "No, guys want you to dress like funny.
Yeah.
like they'd rather you
Yeah.
dress like creative and funny and weird and not hot because it's like harder for a guy to talk to a girl who just looks like so fucking hot versus like a girl who like looks funny and you can start a conversation.
100%, 100%.
Because then that makes it like her have a personality more
Yeah.
than anything.
Dress like Borat and I'll like go up and talk to you. You know, I mean that's the way to go. And that's the same thing with Hinge. It's like I've seen
Yeah.
pictures, you know, on Hinge profiles that are literally just the silliest memes possible. But
Do you talk
Yeah.
about this with your friends ever? Like, do you guys like? Is this a common theme where like you're like, damn, I wish girls would like not put their tits on.
no, that would cause me to be exiled from the man
be like,
community.
"Oh my God."
It's not. You can't say this stuff unless you're on slut camp.
Right, it's a safe space.
You heard it here
It's a
first.
safe space.
I heard it here first.
Since moving here, what's been like the best experience? What's been like the worst experience?
Okay. Good question.
Give me specifics.
I'll get into specifics. That's fine. Best experiences have been with girls that I like saw on the apps and I clicked with on some sort of like random niche meme thing. Like one girl, Costco guys. You know the Costco guys? Boom.
Yeah, of course.
Big boom. That was 5 booms for me on that.
Never wanted
on
a
that.
chicken bake more in my life.
God. So yeah, the girls I've had a good time with have been the ones that I like clicked with on some niche
Weird
kind of
shit.
thing. You know, like
Personality.
something. The name of the game is putting something on your profile that is able to start a conversation. You know, that's in the boys' boat most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to put something on there that's going to be able to like kickstart that. You know, light the spark.
100%.
So those have been the ones I've clicked with most because, you know, when you see them in first person, you know, for the first time, you have something to talk about. You have something shared in common. That being said, I did have one very bad experience. My worst dates, and like we can insert like thunderclouds.
Okay, thunderclouds,
like
big
lightning.
answer.
Like, so I had one really bad one. And it was actually my first date being in New York City, which was kind of a really shitty introduction to the life I was gonna immerse myself into. I met this girl in Brooklyn and she showed up absolutely fucking hammered.
Oh.
She showed up blasted.
Okay, so we shouldn't do that.
No, don't do that. Pre-game is fine. Don't get drunk.
Could you tell she was drunk like
Yes.
after that?
Yeah, you could tell because she was on fire.
And not in a good way.
Not in a good way. She sat down.
She came in
very hot. She came in very hot.
All right.
She sat down and just started firing at me, was making personal attacks on my attire and the way I looked and making assumptions based off of
Oh my
that.
God, I'm really sorry if I said anything to offend you in the beginning.
No, it's fine.
I like love your style.
It
so
reminded
much.
me of that. It's a little bit
I'm
PTSD.
really sorry.
It's fine.
Okay.
Like, for example, she looked at like the fact that I wear jewelry and she was like, oh, I bet you like to smoke weed and hang out with your bros. And I was like, first of all, insulting. Second of all, not even true. Like, where are you getting that from? Like, where's my look convoluting with a frat guy?
She was bringing out her deepest, darkest personal offenses against guys who wear jewelry.
Exactly. It was just a full-on personal attack on all levels. So that was
maybe you were her therapy session.
Exactly. I almost walked out, which would have been a crazy start to my dating experience in New York
City.
City.
Like, I'm going to the bathroom and then just leave.
I almost did. And then I got drunk enough to start firing right back at her, and we ended up having
crazy hate sex.
Not crazy hate sex. We actually ended up having a really good night, just drinking and insulting each other, if you can believe that.
Well, how was that a terrible experience?
Well, it was terrible at first, but I combated it.
Okay, so you have okay. All right, fine.
I combated it.
And you don't talk to her anymore?
No, I never talked to her again after that. That was
okay. So it seems like you just had some pent up frustration that you both needed to get out, and that was like the way to do it.
Oh, okay. No, she did. I was going into that with a beautiful heart and open minds. I was not ready to start insulting people.
Love and light.
I only did that because I had to. I had to defend my honor. Okay. I love a good audience because, believe it or not, I'm actually not that funny in person.
Really?
People really don't appreciate my humor. So when someone laughs at everything I say, I'm like in love. That's all I need.
What? I feel like we have the same sense of humor.
No, my jokes usually don't land. I mean, come on. Let's be honest.
Really?
It's usually a stretch.
You just have snarky girl humor.
I know, but that comes off the wrong way.
Like cunty.
Sometimes. I know. But usually most girls going on a date with a Hinge guy don't want a gay man.
You're telling me you don't go at them?
Oh, that's my first move. Instead of hugging him, I go. I do the exhale too.
Has every girl you've gone on a date with been from Hinge so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
I am a Hinge truther.
You're a Hinge whore.
Yes. That's a good way to put it. Thank you for that. So sweet of you. So this girl, we matched on Hinge, scheduled a date. We clicked on the Costco guys of all things. So we were doing the boom and the doom, and then World of T-shirts. You know World of T-shirts. That guy's fucking. I'm
very sad for him.
Yeah, I love him.
That just makes me more depressed than anything.
I love him.
Well, he's gonna die soon, so
he's living his best life. Ended up chatting the night away. Hooked up on the first date. Not my instigation. That was all her.
Okay, this is actually interesting.
Yeah.
Conversation.
So she was like, do you want to come back to my place? And I was like, I mean, in that situation, I was clapped. Like, okay. That's usually the guy's role, but I was like, I'm being invited. So
you're like, I got to get my cheeks clapped.
So we're texting after this first date, and this whole first date was talking about how she's an influencer and how she has a following on Instagram, and that's her full-time job.
And did you think that was attractive, or you just had no opinion?
I didn't really care, I didn't really know the essence of it. I just met her, so I was like, oh, that's cool. You work for yourself, you post stuff online. That sounds like everyone's dream, so I thought that was kind of sick.
Admirable.
But after the first date, I mean, given what we did, I was like I want to get deeper into you, what is this? So I asked for her Instagram. I was like, oh, what's your,
did you ask her over text or did you ask her in person?
Over text.
Okay, so
maybe that was a fault on me.
Yeah, no, I don't. Every time a guy asks for my Instagram, I'm literally like,
I will preface this.
But you did already meet her in person.
I will preface this. She already had my TikTok.
That's concerning.
I had sent her a TikTok of the Costco guys, and so she had my full profile. And so to combat that, I said, hey, I want to know more about your job and that kind of stuff. What's your Instagram? Actually did give it to me, but wouldn't let me follow her. She was like, don't follow me.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
That's the thing that I was like, what?
Yeah. She prefaced that. I didn't even ask. She was like, don't follow me. And I was like, okay, kind of taken aback.
You're like, what, are you married?
Yeah. I was like, this isn't that crazy of a lifestyle. It's not like it's that embarrassing. You have 50,000 followers.
She just didn't want you to see what she was posting?
I guess.
Did she explain why? Were you like, why?
No, I didn't even ask why. I was just like, okay, that's weird. Fast forward a month later, and she had taken a picture of me outside my apartment at a restaurant she was sitting at and sent it to me. And I was like, oh, I saw you on the street.
That's not, something that I would personally do in fear of immediately being ghosted, but
I 100% agree.
No.
Like, it was me in my most vulnerable state, coming back from Trader Joe's with a bag full of groceries and a fucking plant in my hand. And she's sitting at the Mexican restaurant across the street from my apartment, snaps a picture of me and sends it to me. Like, oh, I saw you.
And she knew it was your apartment, right?
Oh, she figured it out.
And then how did that end?
Went on a second date. Wasn't it? Separate ways after that. So
would you say you're a serial monogamist?
I think so. I think we're getting too old for the alternative. So
really?
Yeah.
Well, why are you on slut camp?
25. You need to speak my mind, of course.
We lost 2 years because of COVID. We are able
That's
to
a crazy way to think about it, but I never
locked
really
inside for 2 years. How the fuck can you say we can't be slutty and date around?
Fair enough.
What?
Fair enough.
Well,
okay.
my whole thing, and
okay.
that's the point of the show, is to be like, why can't we just like date to date and like meet people? Like, there's always like an agenda. But I feel like when like in your perspective, like we're too old for this. Like, you're going on dates like wanting to like get serious with these girls, right?
It has potential for that. That's the reason why I go on these dates.
Okay,
you know,
you're not,
I'm
like,
not going
seeing a
on
girl-
dates to like one night stand. I would not say that's my vibe.
Well, that's never the agenda. Anyway, I feel like it's just kind of like, do you go and they're like, oh, that like looks like an interesting person. We have good conversation. Like, I want to meet them.
Yes.
Like, new connection.
Yes, but only if that. Like, anything less, and the date's not going to happen.
You can disagree. That's fine. We're so young, and like our generation too, like we're hate it or love it. We're Gen Z, and we're like, our generation like gets married so much later.
Yeah.
And we're just like not about that right now, because we're like all about like carpe diem, like seizing our youth and being like, we got fucked and not in a good way, and now we want to regain that sense of youth. And like also living in New York, like if you want to get a serious connection in your 20s and you move to New York, like you made the wrong choice.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
I fully support what you're saying. Like,
Okay.
I think that's the right move to go, you know? In my opinion, I'm going into it with the mindset of like, if some real connection happens, then like that's the
Perfect.
ideal.
Cool.
You know, that's the ultimate goal. I'm in no way, shape, or form like expecting that on every single day. You know,
Yeah.
like, more often than not, it's just some
100%.
kind of one and done sort of situation. So
100%. Okay, agree. What's like the New York City girl vibe?
yeah, I would say very artsy fartsy, fashion girly. You know, the amount of fashion kind of stretches I've seen in this city, I couldn't even name. I think to combat the finance guys, they kind of have to dress up and get all up to the T, which I love. I think that's a great vibe. So yeah, what you were saying beforehand with the creative directors and the
They're very like personality focused.
Exactly,
Very, like,
exactly.
I'm doing this like very like they're on path
yeah
like for something.
exactly. And
Cool.
they have an identity and stuff, and I love it. So
Which like fuck yeah, respect. Last question. As like someone who is like, I would say confident enough to come on this fucking show, what is like your kind of, and like this is just me being interested in terms of like guys our age, like when you go to a bar, do you typically look to pick up a girl? Like, would you go up to a group of girls and like, okay,
Never.
you would never do
Never.
that. Okay,
Never. Never. I don't do it. I don't know why. I can't bring myself to do it. I think that all of the like typical pickup lines or whatever you would say to someone you don't know comes off so fucking sleazy.
Yeah.
It's like not the move.
So you just would never even approach a girl, even if you like had like a genuine thing to like compliment her on or like say something, or like, or do you wait for someone to come up to you?
See, in that case, yeah, if I had something to like talk about or something in common, you know, that I could bring up to them, that's not just like, oh, like, you know, you come here often or something like that. Like really genuine, I guess, unique in a way. I would potentially. I would say in general, that's not really my style, my move. If people come up to me, I obviously love that. That makes it a lot easier for me. But yeah, I'm not really the type to just like walk up to someone at a bar and be like, hey.
Would you say that is like common amongst like your friends too? No. Guys go up to girls that you're friends with?
I think I'm unique in that
Oh,
sense.
you're a unicorn. You're just super unique and
I
awesome.
know. I'm just such a feminist.
Okay, sluts. I think we have to end it here. Thank you so much, Noah, for coming on the show. Love you, appreciate you. Noah and I are gonna go have a date after this, and we're gonna go out and shake our asses and suck a little dick if we're nasty. And Noah's
Just you.
gonna
For the record, that's just gonna be her.
Okay, slut affirmation to finish. Arriba, abajo, a centro, adentro. Okay, bye. Love you. Have a good night. Bye.